Okay, good morning. This is the Public Safety Committee and calling the meeting to order. First item is the approval of the May 1st, 2025 minutes. Is there any changes that anybody wants to make to them or? Then hearing none, then we'll accept the minutes as they are presented. Public comments or presentations? I don't see anybody in the audience. Okay, we'll move on to item 4, monthly statistics for May 2025.
Thank you. So our monthly statistics package is included again for you in our public safety packet here today. We had the packet indicates we had 450 calls for service for May. That was through the 28th. I ran numbers again this morning. So the actual total was 543 was the final total, which brought us just a few calls shy of April's calls for service. So they were just a few shorter than the amount we had in April. Our calls for service list is included, which shows all the calls that we responded to during the month. And then our calls for service by month chart is also included. As you can see, the trend line is trending up. However, it really is just up and down depending on the month. And the only difference between each month is just a few less than 100 calls or so, give or take. So the sample amount is quite small. Moving on to our mental health contacts and our homeless or displaced persons contacts for the month. We had 2 mental health contacts. We had 4 contacts with individuals who were displaced or who are currently homeless. And we had no repeat persons during those contacts.
Did any of the displaced persons homeless reach out for any services or?
I'm not sure. We do every time we have a contact with a homeless person that we do offer services at the minimum just to try to get them in touch with those. Okay. Yeah. Our training log is on the next page, which includes all of our training year to date for all of our officers. We're well on track to meet and exceed our minimum required 24 hours of in-service training for the year. I'm currently working on a better way to display the calls for service on a map for you. My goal is to be able to get you a login so you can actually log in and see and navigate that map yourself. So you can click on the individual calls and it will present a lot better. This format for presenting kind of heat maps or anything on a map is kind of difficult because there's so many different calls for service and they kind of bunch together in groups and it's hard to determine what they are. So I think it's just easier if I create a way for you to view that on your own.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's currently being worked on. But the map I included kind of gives you an overview of where things are. It's kind of spread out throughout the city.
And then the calls for service one, I kind of answered my own question. I was wondering if all these had all the traffic stops on them, but obviously they do because they're all listed on here. And
Yes.
so I just wanted to make sure we were capturing those as well, that as the finance committee goes forward, that we've got the data here that says, we really should be having more policemen. So
yes, and the calls for service list that I include every meeting is an actual list of every single call. It's with nothing filtered out. As you can see, it has a lot of the medical aid calls that are transferred. So that's an actual list, raw data. And if there's any other format that you think may be easier for you to use in other meetings, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to put that together for you.
no, I think this works fine. It's just I just wanted to make sure that those were being counted as well.
Gotcha. And that was it for our statistics package for the month.
All right, and then we'll go into item 5, AB 2514, the automated school zone enforcement RFP.
So as you're aware, during our last council meeting, or sorry, our study session, we had Novoa Global come out and give a presentation regarding their services. We're now at the point where we've identified a vendor and we just kind of need some direction on where we want to go from here. So they're ready, obviously, to negotiate a contract if that's what we decide to do. And I included the sample contract that they use for many of their Washington state agencies for review. And that was also given to legal as well to provide input on. But if there was anything in the contract that that either drew your attention or you wanted to modify, that's a possibility here.
In the document we're looking at here, this one has gone through legal and she's put her recommendations on here.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yes.
That's how I read that. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure. Now, have they seen the vendors seen these changes at all? Have they been, they have not been talked about, so we need to go to council to basically approve entering into this contract with them and then.
Yes, yes. The Novoa Global has not seen this yet, simply because, you know, I don't want to move forward with it unless obviously the council wants to move forward with it. And I'm not sure exactly the process from here where we need to go. So I'm not sure if it gets negotiated prior to bringing it to council for final approval, or if we get final approval and then move to negotiations. So.
Any thoughts on that?
I feel like, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure we can bring the draft contract to council, you guys review it, then we go through, and if negotiating happens, we can bring it back for you guys to re-review. I believe is my understanding of how that process works.
Yeah. So it's already been through study session.
Correct.
So I think we can take it to council, put it on the next council agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do that? And
Get
then,
one last, any comments or changes anyone would like to make?
right,
If so, have legal review it one more time and then send it forward.
right, yeah.
To negotiate after that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And in addition, at the last minute, I provided the speed study that they conducted for us. They wanted to verify the numbers that we had been previously provided were still accurate. And when I compare those to our previous speed study, it looks as if the previous speed study actually had fewer potential violation numbers per month. So on the old speed study, I'm showing, let's see, total potential violations per month was 15,700. And on the new speed study, it's broken down into multiple pages, but the first page is just is one school zone. That's going to be the Washington Avenue North at. Let's see which one. I know it's on here somewhere. The middle school. So the first page is at the very, very bottom. You can see in those two little tables, the black title bar has the school name in it. So the North School Zone, which on this sheet is titled Orting Middle School Vehicles. That's page 1. And then the second page is the high school speed zone. And so the Orting Middle School speed zone was indicating a weekly violation count of, 6,133. And then the high school was 3,700. So let's see. So actually, it was a little bit less.
Yeah,
Actually,
so-
yeah,
You know, during the study session, we talked about the threshold of when a car would get a notification, right? Or, you know, a ticket,
correct.
and that there's some flexibility in there. And I don't really want to go into that.
Right.
I noticed this morning, I drove through that
Mhm.
20-mile-an-hour speed limit, you know, and I'm doing 20 and the car in front of me is exceeding. And I think people, especially some of the professional drivers, know what that threshold is
Right, right.
and they tend to use that. I was thinking this morning, it would be nice during that trial period,
Mhm.
you know, where it's just sending out notices and just saying, you know, and they're really not ticket, rather than have that threshold,
Mhm.
send them out at 20. If you do 21, send them out,
Right, right.
you know.
Especially if there's, if they're not being cited, you know.
Right. There's nothing there, but you know, then all these gravel truck companies and everything else will be kind of put on notice that, you know, yeah, this is really happening and so,
Exactly. Yes, and I definitely agree with that. Getting the word out, you know, early is important to folks, so they know, you know, obviously that the tickets are coming in the future.
right,
Yeah,
right. And then once the tickets, you know, once it goes live, then you could have that,
right,
that adjustment, that threshold, you know, in there and
right. This speed study also indicates the highest speed that it captured.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah, and there were some pretty fast drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, people still don't understand that out Williams, it's 35.
Right, right.
You know, I think just before Williams, but that's the 35. And then you go into the school zone and, you know, people obviously are, yeah,
Right. Right.
they're,
So I was just provided these numbers here from Heidi, the contact, our contact with Novo Global, who provided the presentation for us at the study session. And she, I've got a scheduled appointment to speak with her about these numbers on this Friday, which would be tomorrow, actually. She wants to discuss them and go over. These numbers actually didn't capture a Friday set of numbers just because there was a holiday on that day. And so just from that alone, they're going to be lower, run lower. So, but she had additional input that she wanted to share with me about them. So I'll make sure to pass that on as soon as I find out what that is.
I'm amazed at some of these high speeds. Somebody was just trying to break the record.
Yeah.
It's 63, like, really?
Yeah, yeah. And then again, those are only captured, during school zone hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these weren't collected in the middle of the night, you know, when nobody's driving.
Right,
Yeah,
right. This is when the lights are flashing that says 20 miles an hour.
exactly.
People are still, yeah. That's why I'm thinking before it goes live and we're in that trial stage, everybody, you know, anybody doing over 20, they get noticed that,
Right.
hey, you would have got a ticket today if you were driving. The next time they come through there,
Right, right.
that's gonna be in their mind and
Yeah.
even, you know, hopefully it even says like, yeah, you were doing 22. It's like, wow,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it appeared that there were multiple options for, sending effective communication. She had the example of the school children photo, and it's a letter from the child. I think those are pretty effective.
Yeah, right. But I think, I mean, if they get that in the first trial period, that, wow, 22, they were gonna give me a ticket, that's kind of embedded. Not the reality, but let's start with that.
Yes, exactly. And again, the overall goal is to get people to slow down. So.
Right, exactly, and when they're doing, what, 63, it's like, yeah, nobody's slowing down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda for our next council meeting.
Study session or council meeting, a full council meeting?
Full council,
Okay.
because we've already done the,
I was gonna say, this year's or this month is a little different because the 18th one is the combined study session regular
Oh.
meeting, so we could potentially move to that one.
yeah, let's move to that, yeah, let's do it, yeah. Okay, and that'll take us up to item 6, AB 2515, police staffing, study funding. That's just, looks like tracking purposes only.
Correct.
So that's still ongoing in the finance committee. Never find it. Okay, so that's just tracking. And we've got item 7, update on council goals, Title 6 revisions.
So our Title VI revisions, we're continuing to move forward with those. Our prosecutor has taken a look at those. She doesn't have any objections to any of those changes. When you actually look at the modification document that I provided, it looks real busy, like a lot of things have been deleted. While they were essentially just reorganized. And so all of the existing RCWs that were adopted that show repealed have been re-included in the list. It was just relisted or done in a more laid out in a format that is easier to view on paper once all these changes have been accepted. The prosecutor had no issues at this point. It's going to move to our legal review process, and we'll have Kendra take a look at it and see if she has any input. And again, the goal for this was to adopt as many RCWs as we could that mirrored or duplicated municipal code that we had. Yeah, just for ease of future changes in RCW, those will self-update. And then, so in the Appendix B was the area where we had the remaining municipal codes that were basically created. As many of those that we could adopt or that mirrored RCWs, we actually adopted the RCW and struck those. And then the ones that were unique to us, we kept all those remaining. So.
No, it makes sense to just refer to the RCWs, and then if they get updated, we don't have to. Yeah,
Much easier.
yeah, much easier.
So I expect we will most likely be ready to move this to study session, our next study session, because Kendra is fairly quick on her reviews, and so I believe she'll be able to review this before.
So we set this up for the 18th then also?
Yep. We
Okay.
could.
Okay, and that takes us to item 8, code enforcement, community development.
Kim Gunderson notified me that she was not able to attend this morning, and so she is working hard on solving code enforcement problems in the community here. There's a few houses that they've been addressing that are ongoing issues, and the work on those continues. And I didn't have too much more of an update on code enforcement for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go to item 9, update Title 5 and Title 7 revisions.
And this is a Scott topic. He's included the work that is being done on those revisions, and those are included in the packet here. Beyond that, I didn't have anything to add.
So this wouldn't be ready to be moved on yet.
I don't believe so.
Right.
No.
We'll just continue that with Public Safety Committee. And then we have item 10, which is the July meeting date, July 3rd.
Yes, so the set date is as part of our first Thursday of the month, makes our next meeting fall on the 3rd. I just wanted to check to make sure that that was going to be an okay day for everybody, just because it's the day before the 4th of July, and I know a lot of people are on vacation, so if we wanted to modify that date, that could be done, or not.
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
I don't know if Don would, but I'll be here.
Okay.
I checked my calendar this morning and yeah, I'll be in town.
Okay, we will leave it be then.
Okay.
And if something does come up, or if he has a scheduling conflict, yeah, if you let us know, we can change that date.
We don't have any closures that day, do we? We just have the 4th of July as a holiday for the city, so, yeah, okay. And then that takes us to item 11, request for new business. Is there anything anybody needs to add?
I've got one item, but it's not necessarily a new business. It's more of a, just a general comment. I just wanted to report that our firearms have arrived. Those showed up the day before yesterday, our replacement firearms. And so, just as an update, we're now scheduling our range time for training again, and then our qualifications on those before they're issued to officers for use on the street.
Okay, cool. Those came in early, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, they were much faster than we were initially thinking that they were going to be. Yeah.
And then I believe there is one other item that is moving from CGA and it's actually being scheduled in public safety. The Varner parking
Okay.
is going to be discussed next month. I believe that we've invited the public as well. There's some residents who live on that street that want to make public comments, so we should be anticipating that next meeting too.
Okay. I thought in one of our meetings, we were setting up a public hearing or whatever, but maybe it wasn't that. Maybe there was 2 of them I know that are coming up here shortly, but
Yeah, the next meeting, we have 3 public hearings
Public-
on the agenda.
yeah. Always fun. Okay, action items roundtable review, so I think we just kind of did that. Yeah, like, so. And then, if there's nothing else,
Sure. Just real quick before we adjourn, I just wanted to make sure that I've got everything down for our next meeting here. So we are going to move the school zone contract to our next study session / council meeting, as well as the Title VI revisions. And then we're going to add for next month's Public Safety Committee meeting, the Varner parking issue. Is that correct?
That's what I have.
Excellent.
okay, and with that, meeting's adjourned at 9:25. Thank you.
You bet.